Good evening. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Creations by Gwili. I am Gwili. Ed's behind the camera. He's fixing to pull it up and make sure we're actually live before we get started. I'll see if I can get it on my phone. Make sure Facebook hasn't thrown us a curve. You never know. Every time I push that button now to kind of set up a live, I hold my breath for a second because I don't know if they're actually going to put it on or give me that message. And I see it, so let me turn my phone down. And I made myself a note to turn it back up because last night I didn't. Okay, hi Ann, how are ya? Thank you for jumping on. The little thing where it says see your page. The little thing where it says see your page. Okay, so we are on. Thank you ladies for being here tonight. I see Karen's on, so I take it you have power. That's great. So how much of the hurricane did you get, Karen? Hopefully not a lot. I tell you, I feel like my voice is going tonight. They were showing a few things on the news and about all those homes that are just falling into this ocean, you know, and it's like, it's a lot of money going in to water. But anyway, hi Janice, I'm happy you came back. Okay, so tonight, well, let me just start by saying, I love to give things away. I want to thank y'all for watching my lives and being a supporter of my page. And so for this month and next month, we will be putting names in a blessing bag. I will draw at the last day of the month, the last day of November. I will be drawing names out of the blessing bag, and the winner is going to get a 2-tiered tray. And I wanted to tell you the ways that you can have your name put in the blessing bag in case you're new to my page. All you have to do is comment several times, and then at least twice during this live, Ed will just randomly stop and do a screenshot. If your comment is in that screenshot, then your name goes into the blessing bag. Also, I wanted to, because replays are a big thing. I very seldom ever have time to watch anybody live anymore. So I watch a lot of replays. And I know there's not a good time that's perfect for everybody. So if you're watching this on replay, you also can have your name in the bag. Just put #replay. I will go through, and of all those that have watched the replay, I'll just randomly pick a name. That name will go in the blessing bag. The third way is if you share this video to your friends on your page to help me grow my page and get more people in here watching and participating. It helps build my business. So your name will be put, if Facebook tells me that you shared, your name will be put in the blessing bag twice. So like I said, we will be drawing at the end of November. So let's get started because I actually have 2 projects for you tonight. Y'all know.
Thank you for the sprinkle, Miss Ann.
Appreciate it. Y'all know that I love preparing ahead of time. I do as much prep as I can do because I don't want you just sitting here watching me do the same thing over and over and over, or waiting for paint to dry before we can do the next project. I always try to go back and explain exactly what I've done, but if you have any questions during the live, just put the question in the comment, and Ed tries to catch those. If he, sometimes they go by pretty fast. If he doesn't see the comment, I always go back and look for comments after my live. And I wanted to tell you too, I think about it every time when I'm going back commenting. Don't think I'm ignoring you if I don't comment on your comment on the live, because Facebook has put people in Facebook jail because they've liked something too many times or they've made too many comments. So I have to be very careful and not make more than like 10 comments at a time when I go back in there. So we're not ignoring you, and we're just thrilled that you're here. Okay, so the first thing is, Ed, you probably need to go down with the camera and kind of zoom in on Scrabble tiles. We're going to make a tree with Scrabble tiles, and there's a few things I want to tell you about.
Barbara said she did an angel and 2 trees today.
Cool, out of the folded books. I started folding a book today for an angel. Okay, I don't know, I don't have my glasses on. I can't really see those words, but hopefully you can. If not, I will read them to you. If you want to make a tree exactly like I'm doing, and you want to use these words, that's fine. These are perfect for an 8 by 10 frame or panel. I'm going to use a canvas panel. So I was going to say, if you want to do one just like this, take a screenshot of these words. The first thing I had to do was to sit and figure out what words I wanted to use. And what you want to do is, if you'll notice, each line is 1 letter more than the other line. I wanted to keep, last year, if you'll go back and look at the videos, I did probably like a 16 by 20, or at least 11 by 14, and I probably used 12 words. I'm only using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words or phrases. This a manger, I had to do that because I wanted everything to have to do with the manger. Like I didn't want to put in Christmas, and I didn't want to put in Santa, and you know, so I tried to come up with things that fit, and I just wrote them down on a piece of paper. Then I got my tiles. You also have to know what size you're going to put them on. This is I'm going to give y'all just a second. Take a screenshot of that if you want to. I will read the words to you. And then Ed's going to zoom back out just a little bit so you can see. I'm going to use, remember these are these panels. It's just a 8 by 10 panel. One reason I like using these is you can paint them, you can put scrapbook paper on them, you can decoupage on them, you can do a lot of different things. And they're great if you just want to set it up like at the fireplace, or if you want to actually put it in a frame. I will tell you, if you're going to put it in a frame, make sure that your words, like this one, I couldn't keep going and do 12 letters because the letters would be running right to the edge. And like this is the frame I might use. And see, you're going to cut off part of that. You have to make sure that it's going to fit inside the frame and that your words can be seen. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get your frame on, if that makes sense, because of these tiles. Now, where to get the tiles? I ordered them from Amazon. I would just say be very careful and make sure you get these small, these aren't even an inch. They are 20 by 17 millimeters, which I don't even know what that is. It's less than an inch, though. They're 20 by 18 by 4 millimeter. Don't get the 4-inch tiles, Scrabble tiles, and you can just search for wood Scrabble tiles, and they'll come up. But the 4-inch ones are the ones that you like put on the wall to spell somebody's name. So make sure you don't get those. These usually come in bags of 100 or 500. But I got them off of Amazon. I personally have seen a few little ones somewhere. May have been Hobby Lobby. But your best bet, money-wise and everything, is just get a whole big bag from Amazon. But be careful with the tiles. Make sure you're getting the little bitty tiles. Okay, y'all know that last year I decorated my tree with black and white buffalo plaid and burlap. So I went to do this and I thought, okay, what am I going to put on my canvas? Am I going to paint it? Am I going to put scrapbook paper? I would discourage you from using scrapbook paper that is real busy. you want to make sure that this is your main thing, so you want to make sure you can read it. Yes.
Terry Surgeon says, can I use the one from old Scrabble games? Will they be the correct size?
If they're not much bigger than an inch, they need to be smaller probably than an inch, or you're not going to, because you only have 8 inches here, unless you want to put it on a big board. Just make sure whatever you put together, and this is a good way to put them together. When I did my words, this is painter's tape with a sticky on this side. Just put your word on that piece of painter's tape and it's going to stay, and it helps you line things up. So you can figure out what words you want to use and then make sure what you're putting them on actually works. I've pulled my burlap loose. Hang on one second. Well, I decided that I looked at some scrapbook paper and had just about decided on one that was like black and gray. If you have a lot of Santas or a lot of Christmas trees, it'll take away from your main tree. You want to make sure, put your Scrabble tiles up against that scrapbook paper. You could paint this red, you could paint this green, you can paint it black. I had a piece of burlap, and so I decided I wanted to cover mine with burlap because that will match my decorations. I use neutral colors, I use a lot of burlap and black and white check. So that's what I decided I wanted to do. So I went ahead, I put Mod Podge on this tile. It's called a panel, 8 by 10 panel. I put burlap on it, Mod Podge, and then I did the iron-on. And it'll ravel when you cut it, but that's okay. That's the edges, they won't be seen. And even if I didn't put a frame around it, you know, with burlap, frayed edge is just, that's what's popular. So that's what I did so far. Okay, I also put one tile right here for the base of my tree. And the reason I did that is I took these and laid them on my board to make sure that I had room. See, I couldn't bring this way down here. Then I wouldn't be able to put my frame on it. So if you're going to use a frame, and this is just, it was a brown frame. I painted it black, and then I sanded because I wanted some of that brown to show through. So this project's not going to have a whole lot of color, but that's pretty much what I wanted. And I knew these tiles, see, will show up real pretty on that burlap. So double check that. Like, go ahead and put your frame over it. Lay your words on there and make sure they're not going to come out too far. Then you also can measure the top here. I actually have these 3 extra ones because I'm going to do, I couldn't think of a word that was just 2 letters. So I'm just going to put blank ones for the 2 and a blank one for the top, and then I'm going to put a star on top of these 3. But this is a blank one. Actually, this is not a blank one. This side of it is blank. It is an X on the other side. They only give you, I think, 2 blanks, I think is all it said was in there. And I used one of them here, and I didn't want to dig through and find the other one. There's 2 blanks in here, so it tells you how many of each letter. So if you want a blank, turn a letter over, you know. So this is the trunk to my tree, okay? Any questions so far of how to get started? And you can use any words you want to. Like I said, you can go back and look at the big one I did last year. I think there were like 12 phrases or words on there. What?
I got confused. Barbara Rosecrans said, can you put a glass on top? And I don't know what context.
She means here on the frame. See, this is just an open frame.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think so, Barbara, because your tiles are setting up. Yeah, your tile is almost at the very top. So unless you had something that more like a shadow box, I don't think you can. I mean, if it laid down like that, now you might try it, but then your frame wouldn't go in the your panel wouldn't go inside the frame. You might just have to tape it away from the frame a little bit like this, and then you got to worry about centering it, you know. But the two that I've done, let's put it that way, the two that I've done are just open. I did not put any kind of glass on them. Okay, now let me show you how I found the center. I took a ruler and measured across, and of course it's 8 inches. Okay, the middle of that is 4. So I made sure that the trunk of my tree was right in the middle of that 4. Supposingly that, once you get your first row, the rest of them are easy. It's just gluing them. But you've got to make sure that you have that word straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of painter's tape just to get started.
Thank you for sprinkling this hand.
This is not a difficult project. It's just time consuming hunting all your letters. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece of tape and put it right at the top of that word, and I'm going to try to make sure I have it exactly the same distance from the bottom. Okay, and let me make sure that when I go on top of that, yeah, that looks good. All right, let's see if I can get the other one straight. I could go over my tile, but I don't want to. Okay, let me get me a straight line here so I can get it right up there.
Terry Morrison says, can I use a piece of thin board cut in at 8 by 10?
Yes, ma'am, you can. And it doesn't have to be 8 by 10. This is just a good combination of words that's a perfect fit for an 8 by 10.
You could use a heavy cardstock.
You could even use cardboard. Yeah. You just want some foam board like we used last night. Okay. Fold. I just had a thought. Hang on. I'm afraid when I pull up that tape, it's going to fray my burlap. So I'm not going to put that down tight over my edges. I just don't want it to mess up my fabric underneath there. Okay. And really and truly, it's just the edges that you'd worry about.
Ann said she was going to ask about foam board.
Yeah, you could use foam board. Okay. See, I just pulled another piece off the bottom. Let me make sure that this, eyeball. Most things you can eyeball and be fine, but when you start putting words, it doesn't take much to get off. And this is the only row that you'll have to do this for. You got to get that first word straight, and then you build from there. Okay, so I'm going to take my first word, which is your longest word. Mine is Bethlehem. Make sure you spell things correctly. And also with the Scrabble tiles, make sure that your little numbers are on the same side and they're not upside down. I actually put an N wrong in one of them and had to change it. And sometimes you put an S backwards, but as long as you've got those little letters right across the bottom, then that's good. Okay, I counted.
Was fixing to ask how far from the top.
Well, I tried to do the same top and bottom, but see, I have already laid these words on here and just eyeballed it. You don't have to worry as much about the top. I just want to make sure how far down I could come or needed to come. I still have plenty of room for the star, and nobody is going to look and say, oh, well, that's off. because you can always put a bow or something at the top to change the eyeball looking at it. Okay, so this word has 9 letters in it. So I know the L is my middle letter. So that's the first letter that I'm going to pull off the tape and put. And it does not take much glue at all. If you put too much glue, it raises the letter too much. So I'm going to put my L right against my trunk of my tree and go from there. Okay. Now I should be able to line up this E with that L by staying on the top of my row right there. And you want them to touch. You want everything touching now. And then I'll do the H. Now it's just a matter of gluing them all down. And then decorating. You just really want to take your time with this first row. All right, I'm going to do the H on this side. Make sure I don't put it on upside down. And you know, it's handmade. I see Ann says that looks time consuming. It's really not. It goes fairly quickly when you already have your words out. Now, it did take me a while to dig through there and get all the letters I needed. And it will go faster because I'll show you the trick to just being one letter different. The key is make sure this line is straight. And see, it with the lettering, it kind of makes me think it's wobbly, but, and like I said, it's handmade, it's homemade, so you just don't want it real wonky. All right, see, I had laid my on there, so I knew I had plenty of room. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pull up this side just to not mess up my burlap. And sometimes your Scrabble tiles are a little wonky. E and M. So, perfect. In a perfect world, I should have the same amount over here that I have on this side, because I don't want it looking off center when I put my frame on. And just eyeballing it, it looks a little off, but it shouldn't be if you go by measurements. No, I think that's pretty good. Can y'all hang on? Glue strings. Can y'all see? So it's pretty close. Okay, now what I'm going to do on my next word, which is actually a phrase, a manger, you're going to go in between these two letters. So you're doing the in between now. And that puts it the same distance each time. So I don't have to worry about starting in the middle. I'll take the A, and it's going to go between my B and my E. And I should be able, if the Scrabble tiles are perfect. And then there's a blank one. You do get a lot of glue strings. So all of these, you just push right up against these, and they should be G, they should be centered also. That's why you start out with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I told y'all that. When you're figuring out your words, your first word, 3, and then your next word, 4, and then 5 letters, 6 letters, 7 letters. I did one last year that wasn't put close together like this, that I kept here in my kitchen, and it just said, "Oh Holy Night," and they weren't touching, so that was okay. At the top was just the 2, and then holy, and then night. They didn't have to be one off. What? See, Ed doesn't have the patience to do this.
I was thinking I would have thrown that 15 foot.
Yeah, nice. It's not hard. It's just a little bit of measuring before you get started. And see, I can tell on this one Scrabble tile, and sometimes the shading makes you think it's weird. It looks to me like my H is a little bit different size than the T, but, you know, it's crafting. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. You see how these are in between? It's going to be that way the rest of the way up. This one is going to come and be, like, go between those letters. Well, that letter. Right. Yeah.
This end said steady hands needed.
Yeah, especially with all these glue strings. I don't have steady hands a lot of times. But you kind of know where you want to put it. You want it to be centered. Like I said, the key is getting that first word and not misspelling believe. Seemed like on that big one I had misspelled a word, and I think it was hallelujah, that I had to pull it off and redo. And trust me, I double checked my word believe a time or two. I before E, step after C. It's just, you're building, it's what you're doing. So if you do your measurements and you're planning ahead of time, it's just a matter of taking a second to, and there was no way, well, I mean, I could have done some of these before I came on, but then I'm afraid y'all would miss the actual measuring that's so important. Now it's just a matter of stacking them. Because now every letter is in between 2 letters. Okay.
Surgeon said, my mother instilled in me that a homemade decoration or gift are always the best.
Yeah. And they don't have to be perfect. Okay, now we're going to do angels. And I had to, of course there were angels around, but I had to add the S to get the right number of letters. Do y'all have any questions? Remember, the more you comment, the more likely Ed's going to see your comment when he does a screenshot, so talk to me. is some of you already have cold weather, but we're very anxious for this cool front that's supposed to be coming through tomorrow night. And we're thankful for it because that's what is keeping that tropical storm from going back in the Gulf, is this front that's coming through. Okay, we only have 3 more to go, so y'all see what I've got so far with my strings? So you're just building your tree. And you can sit down and figure your own tree with whatever words you want to come up with. Like I said, the one with that was the big one, 11 by 14, I think it was, I'm not sure, had the longest word, I believe, was hallelujah. Not positive. I know Christmas was on there. Yeah, okay. Ed's fixing to do a screenshot.
Down.
Okay, so that's 1 down. So about what temperatures? What are y'all, what's your temperature like?
Karen Hunter said I sorted my Scrabble tiles when I bought them.
Yeah, my first bag I did. Now that took a while. I took Ziploc bags and I put all the vowels in one, and then I did like A through G maybe, and that took a while. This is a newer bag.
And Travis said it
Star.
was 72 today.
Yeah, we were in the 80s today. Okay, we're almost through with the words, and then we'll...
Of course, we're a little closer to the beach in Miss Ann.
Tomorrow's supposed to be up in the 80s before the front actually gets here. So, I mean, our air is running right now. And here it is, way into November.
She's organized. Karen Hunter says I have a box with 28 slots, and each letter has its own slot.
That's good. When I go to use these again, I'll just have to pour them all out and hunt the letters I need. But I think Christmas is the only... No, I have used them on some farmhouse stuff to spell farm. Okay. But other than that, that's about all I use them for. And then our last word is joy. And then we're going to put, I think one of these is blank. I did grab an A, a Q, 2 Q's and an A. So sometimes they look a little different. Those kind of look alike. They're going to be covered with a star anyway. And I've got 2 different stars here. I sprayed one with a gold glitter. And then I just wanted one kind of the color. See, we've got pretty much from the top. That's why I say these words are great for an 8 by 10. You've got just about the same amount here as you've got down here. And about the same amount here as here. Okay, now I've got a gold star, or I've got a star that's more the color.
I like that.
Huh?
I like that.
You like the plain one? I like the gold one.
Well, I guess we know what you
Well,
got
no,
there.
I mean, I did the plain one. I took a star and I had to put some stuff to darken it just a little bit.
The second one, I don't know which one was the second.
And do you like the gold one? Do y'all like the gold one, or do you like the plain one? Just say gold or plain. I saw a comment there, something about January the 9th. I'm not
It's
sure.
talking about birthdays.
Oh, okay. I'm going to cut this little piece off. Do y'all like the gold one or the plain one? We're going to put this black frame on it, and I'll show you what I'm thinking.
And Travis says plain.
Okay, Ed said plain.
Terry Surgeon says that looks wonderful.
Yeah, I think the plain one's okay because of what I'm going to use for the frame. Okay, so we're going to use the plain star. Now, you could stencil still. All right, let me kind of get my star in the center here. We don't want a crooked star. Now you could actually glue this to your frame. I probably will just put a little bit of tape on the back to hold it in. And do y'all remember here a few weeks ago, I showed you how to make the angels? For now, let me just put some painter's tape here. Is that going to do? Just something to kind of hold it in there. Anyway, I showed y'all how to take the ribbon and make an angel. Well, I had thought that that would look really cool on the top part of this frame instead of a bow. Stay in there. Now, I'll have to use my good tape, I guess. You definitely, you could do the back and use a picture frame. You know, might have room for that. You definitely don't want to put painter's tape on it if you're going to sell it, but I'm not going to sell it, so that's what we're doing to get it to stay in so I can fix the frame. So I pulled out my angels, but they were too big. So there we go. I made a small one. Now look at the little one I made. Can you see it?
Hold it a minute.
So I think what I'm going to do is just take an angel and put it right up there. You could, when I was thought about a messy bow, I brought out this ribbon because it's the colors. So you could actually do something with a bow or ribbon.
Miss Ann says she's cute.
And I'm wondering if we kind of do a little bit of, I'm wondering if we put a bow behind her. Ed's going to say no.
Terry Surgeon says that's adorable.
I like the little angel too. And I just did it the same way I showed y'all how to do the other angels. I thought about maybe a messy bow with an angel in the middle. But I think we could just do the angel in the middle because I also thought this is where you have to be, you know, use your creativity and decorate it. I'm thinking about putting, I like the rustic So I like these little rusty stars. She has a rusty bell. So I think I'm just going to use her plain and then decorate the other three corners with a little bitty rusty star. Like this. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think these are too big. Don't you like the little ones better, Ed?
Yeah, I do.
I think that
You mean you're actually going to agree with me?
I just wondered if you went with my way. I already knew that's what I was going to do.
So I really didn't matter.
I just wanted to make you feel like you had a say. Come on. All right, I'm putting some glue on her right there at the back of her. And I'm just going to hold her down for a minute. Now, you remember when I showed you the other angels? We used 2 ribbons.
You were saying, said, why ask?
Yeah, why I ask? Just to make him feel good. Okay.
Make me think I'm getting my way.
So, y'all know you can get rid of glue strings. A tip for you. Like when I'm done, I can take that heat tool and just go over it a little bit. And it will get rid of any glue strings.
Their surgeon says, oh, we can feel the love.
We've been married too many years.
52 years.
Going on 53
Yeah.
next month. It's so close you might as well say 53. I feel it, don't you?
Yeah.
We usually know what the other one's going to say before we ask anything. Okay. I think the rusty stars are just a cute addition, but it doesn't take away from my tree. I still have some glue strings on my little words. See if I can get them here. Make sure my angel. Okay, so that's what we've got. Tree number 1. I think she's cute. It really didn't take that long. Well, probably 30, 35 minutes. But we're going to set her right there. Now the next one I have over half done because it is just the same thing over and over and over. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this, it's called deco tubing. This is the thicker, fancier with almost like snowball in it. And I'm going to take I took a paper mache cone from Hobby Lobby that was $1.49. So you got glue strings all over it too. So I'm kind of doing a peppermint cone. I painted, it's this dark brown, so it's a paper, like paper mache kind of. You could use the styrofoam ones, but the hot glue tends to kind of melt those. So I did a great big one like this last year with the loopy yarn. But get one of the paper mache, that's what it's called. And this is the small cone. They have one that stands about this tall, but I didn't figure I needed one that big. Also, this tubing, if you order it from, I think I got it from Nick's Seasonal Decor or Craft Outlet, it's going to come in packages like this. This is like 30 feet, but you can get tubing, and you don't have to use this snowy stuff. You can use the cheaper tubing like this from the Dollar Tree. There's 36 feet, which is what, 12 yards? And that probably would be enough to do one of these small cones. So the way I did it, I just started off at the bottom. I painted it white just in case it showed through. I started at the back where my seam was. You almost can't see the seam now. That's where I'm attaching because you have to do one piece at a time. If we weren't doing two colors, you would just start wrapping and just keep going. Okay? But since we're doing two colors, you have to just cut a piece. Each piece gets smaller. So to save time, what I did, I just went ahead.
Wait a minute, back up. I got confused.
Okay, what? They're individual pieces.
Oh, okay.
Because,
on top of each other.
yeah, because you can't just take one and just keep going.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I did cut them together. And I know I'm going to have to cut a little off the white, but that's okay. And don't pull it real tight. That's the only thing about your tubing, and I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than what I need.
Terry Surgeon wants to know where you got the cones again.
Hobby Lobby for $1.49. They're over, well, they have a good bit of paper mache stuff, and it's over there kind of with the glass jars and stuff like that. I need to get that where I can get the ends. Okay, and then I'm going to start. See, I had to cut two pieces. Let me find my back. I'm going to start by putting just, you don't put a little bit of glue and just hold it there for a second to get it going. You want it close to this one, but not smushing it. And then just go all the way around your cone. Don't pull on your tubing tight. I did notice the Dollar Tree tubing is bad about having kinks in it, bent and squished, and you cannot get them out. This tubing's a little more expensive, but to me it's worth it for something like this. Now, if you're just going to make little bows or things like that, and see, I cut that to where when I come here, this is the back, I can just push it almost right inside that other one. This one is going to be a little longer than it needs to be because I cut it the same length as the red one. And it's just going to get smaller as you go. But they turn out to be really cute trees.
And Travis said that she got some ribbon from Walmart today and it wasn't good quality.
Yeah. I don't usually buy my ribbon from, now when I first got started, but I ended up with some bad buys too. I bought the Dollar Tree ribbon. And y'all, I mean, it's like satin type and I don't like it at all. Or see, I knew I was going to have to cut off a little of my white, but that's okay. To me, it's just easier to do that than to measure every single time. And really and truly, right now, Hobby Lobby has, I really don't buy much ribbon at Hobby Lobby anymore. And one reason is because they changed their sizing. Where you use, if you'll look at your ribbon, especially that over there that you get half price when they put the ribbon on half price, so much of their ribbon is not 30 feet. It's not 10 yards. And I always thought I was getting a really good deal, and then when I got to figuring what I paid, like from Craft Outlet for 10 yards, and you're only getting about 6 yards at Hobby Lobby. But now they do have some pretty holiday ribbon. Hobby Lobby does. Okay, so I'm just going round and round, and that's really all you do. Decide what you want to put on top.
Terry Surgeon said, I'm trying to feed dogs and cook dinner too,
Oh.
but I have you sitting on my microwave.
What kind of dogs do you have, Terry? And she said dogs, plural, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Ed wants another dog. We had two. We had a Dachshund and a German Shorthair that was one of the smartest dogs I've ever seen in my life. We had to have him put to sleep about a year and a half ago. Then we had to have our Dachshund put to sleep, was it in January this year?
Yeah.
So at the moment, we don't have any dogs. I do not want to house train another dog. So that's what I told him. We had to get one that,
Well, the last two we got was already house.
they were already housebroken. So that's, God's got a dog for us out there that needs a home and that is housebroken. May not be one that not a German Shorthair, but there is a dog out there. But we're fixing to go out of town for a week, so we don't need one till probably after Christmas. Or for Christmas. Maybe you can go pick out a dog for Christmas, Ed. You going to take care of it?
Oh, yeah. There's 2 Taco Bell dogs and a rescue pit. Who's old.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that I'll never own a pit or a boxer.
There's a story behind that. She watched one of our granddaughters get mauled by the dog that had been living in the house since it was
yeah, they'd had the dog longer than they had kids. And the dog, it was a English boxer?
yeah, regular box.
A boxer. Yeah. I had nightmares because y'all know that baby, she was a year old. Well, 3 days before she turned a year old. And our son had already taken the job in Mississippi, so he was living in Mississippi. It's pretty much his dog. I think it slept on top of him every night. But there's just so many things that went into what made that dog go crazy. Not a bad dog. I mean, those kids dressed that dog up, but they had 3 little girls fairly close together in age, so the household changed. They were selling their house. A lot of different little things added up to it. I was living there during the week to take care of the kids. And this was a Sunday. He had taken me up there. He would take me on Sundays and come back and get me Thursday nights. And it was about 4.5 hour drive. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the baby wasn't quite a year old. And they had, going back to leading up, they had folded up the dog's crate and put it away because they were showing their house and, all that good stuff. And Brad had just been home for Christmas. This happened January 7th. I don't think I'll ever forget the date. And Brad had just left to go back to Mississippi and stuff, and it was just too much for the dog. But the dog was laying there, and my daughter-in-law, we were sitting in the living room. She was on one side. She actually was talking to Brad on the phone. And I was sitting on the other side, and the kids had a playroom, and the baby came walking. She hadn't been walking too long. She came walking in from the playroom and walked over to where the dog was, and she never touched him. Never touched him. And Leslie was within arm's reach of her. And she squatted down in front of the dog, and when she did, that dog jumped at her, and he got her right in the face and picked her up and shook her like a rag doll. If you ever saw the commercials from a long time ago, and he clamped on and he shook her like she was a rag doll. It was awful. I mean, awful. She ended up with so many stitches in her mouth and
Missed her eye and tears
just
up.
barely missed her eye. But somebody asked me, how did you get the dog loose? And we honestly don't know. It happened so quick. She grabbed the baby up and took off running to the bedroom, threw the phone down. Brad knew something had happened, but he didn't know what. I got the dog. It was right at the French doors going out to the back. I got the dog somehow and pushed her out the door. But, yeah, I wouldn't, even though we don't have small kids here, I do not want a big dog. And it absolutely hurts my heart, y'all, to see pictures of little babies drinking a bottle laying on a big dog. But the vet and everybody, and well, they said they ended up giving her to a boxer rescue place. But they came and evaluated her before they would agree to take her. And the lady that came to evaluate her and stuff got in her face and yelled at her and pulled her her nails and stuff. And she said, "You've got a good dog that just made a bad decision." But you couldn't take a chance. I mean, because she latched on. And I swear, had we not been sitting right there, she would have killed that baby. I'm convinced. But that was 5.5, 6 years ago, and that baby's fine. She has a little bitty scar. The doctors did an excellent job on her. So, I mean, but it's an experience I don't ever want to go through again. I had nightmares.
She did.
And
wake up during the night.
Yeah, it still runs my blood pressure up. I mean, a dog is a dog, and
There's a lot of company, but
yeah, even though we don't have any little kids here, I've got 10 grandkids, and even when we had Bud, after this happened, I didn't want Bud in the living room if the grandkids were here. Because he'd sleep, I mean, you don't know, he was getting old. Was he about 9?
yeah,
Bud was about 9.
10, 11.
Calmest, nicest dog. He would never purposely. But if a dog is laying on their bed and they're asleep and a baby falls on them or something, you don't know what they're going to do. And we usually kept him shut up when the little grandkids were here. Because I told Dad, I can't handle it again. You have to put me away. Hee hee ha ha, or however that goes.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, that's not something I would wish on anybody. And it just absolutely, I have to take a breath when I see all these pictures with babies laying on dogs. Which, their 3 little girls had too. The dog had never done anything, never so much as even growled at them, I don't think. And it was just boom. And she didn't touch him. But had she not squatted down when he got up and lunged, he would have got her in the throat. So by her squatting down, he got her face, inside her mouth. Anyway, let's get off of that. So we will never own a big dog like that. And something I found interesting.
Unless I can find another German.
I don't know about that. Because I don't think you'd be happy. You'd compare that dog to Bud. Okay, before I get too far up, and I know it's very boring just to sit here and watch me do this, I need to decide sort of what I'm going to do about the top. I'm just not sure. I have this bow already made up, and I could just put a bow up there. I could decide to leave it and not put anything. Or I have like this little candy cane thing. How many of you like the trees? I've seen a lot of people decorate with trees like that. Thought I had one loose. I don't want the white ones, but I had thought maybe something like this candy cane looking one.
I like the bow.
You do? With maybe one or two of these out the top, kind of like you've seen trees that, you know, it's just kind of coming out the top, or maybe just those. I could just do those and not do this thing.
I wrote that bow.
You like the bow. Okay, we'll do the bow. But what I was going to say, before you get too far up, you need to decide what you're going to do for a topping because you need to cover all this. So we're going to do the bow. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue.
Terry Surgeon said that would look good.
See, Ed, you got your way. The only reason you got your way is because it really didn't matter to me.
Well, I'm impressed.
All right, I'm going to hold that there for a second. Well, I kind of like the bow. I wouldn't have picked it out. Although I should have, the bow needs to be turned this way because the back is right here. So I want to make sure that it's not lopsided. And then I'm going to take these and wrap them around a little bit and hope it doesn't affect my tubing. If it does, I'll have to cut them shorter. I'm going to keep this one short up here at the top. Okay, there we go. This has been in storage for a year, so the little edges are kind of. But you know, you could put a white pom pom up there. You do it to suit you or your husband, as it turns out. You could put anything up there. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the sprinkle.
Okay, let that dry. All right, let's go back. Y'all see what I mean about you just watching? How many screenshots have you taken, Ed? 2?
3, I think.
Oh, okay.
I can take another.
I just appreciate y'all hanging on to the end. Like I said, I did over half of this before the live, but it is the same thing over and over and over.
Terry said, so you put the bow on the top before you finish the rest of it.
Anything you're going to put on the top, unless it was round like an ornament or something like that, I would put it on to where you can secure it to the cone. If there's a way you can do it. Like either one of those two, yeah. And see, I'm going to go all the way up to here with this, and then you can cover up what you've used to attach.
Karen Hunter says you could use more than 2 colors.
Oh yeah, you could use the green, the red, and the white. This is just what I had.
She needs to use what she's got.
I do. I need to. That's the reason I use that black frame. I have to use what I've got. I'm trying real hard not to buy stuff. My neighbor the other day, we were walking, and she's like, you need to go to Hobby Lobby. They've got their fall 75% off, and their Christmas is 60% off. I'm like, I don't need anything else. I would just be putting it in the shed. I need to make up some boxes of Christmas ribbon and sell them. Okay. Probably just a couple more. And then really, I'm not going to do anything else. You could take some lights and wrap around it. You could put, since we use this tubing, you could put little bows. But I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to, because this has sparkle to it. I think it's pretty just the way it is. All right, I'll tell y'all now, tomorrow night is our last night for Lives Every Night. And I'm telling you, I need the rest. I'm really looking forward to Saturday. Hopefully it's cool enough I can turn on the fireplace, stay in my pajamas, and watch football. We have something coming up this weekend, next weekend, and the week of Thanksgiving. I will not be doing any lives the week of Thanksgiving. So next week I will do a live on Monday and Thursday like normal. I still have 2 more trees to show you tomorrow night. And one of them did take a good bit of prepping. I spent probably 2 hours yesterday. And tomorrow night our trees are going to be made, both of them, will be made with scrapbook paper.
Karen Hunter says she's got a craft show Saturday.
Well, good luck. Hopefully the weather will be nice. Thank goodness the storm came through, early. I quit doing craft shows a couple of years ago. Okay. But anyway, I actually have one more tree, but I think I'll wait. I probably will do it next week. I just couldn't see doing three of them. I told y'all I had a lot of crafts with trees. And I started folding a book today. I'm going to try, if you saw the picture of the angel that I put on, it didn't have a whole lot of extra. It didn't have arms, and I liked it. And so the book that I pulled apart the other day, when we folded the book for the Christmas tree, I have that. So I started folding it today, and I'm going to try an angel, and I'll post a picture of it when I get it done. But, so let's see, next week I will be live twice. And then the following week, which is the week of Thanksgiving, if I can get the internet to work properly or whatever and figure out how to get pictures and repost videos, I'll go back and find some videos of what we did last year on some of the trees that we did last year. And I'll just repost a video that week. But we are going to Mississippi and see our youngest son and his family. In fact, our daughter and our oldest son and their families, we're all traveling to Mississippi. So it'll be the first time we've all been together in, I know, 3 years, if not 4. Okay, so we're excited about that. And hoping Ned makes the trip okay. We rented a house, and he may stay in bed part of the time. But we're going to take 2 days to get there. It's about a 12-hour drive, and I know he can't go 12 hours. Okay, now this gets a little trickier when you get up here, because it kind of wants you to really stretch that tubing, and I don't want to stretch it. And I'm going to be trying to go over that pipe cleaner right there and hope it won't show. So I'm going to hold it for just a second. But we've already been over an hour. I really, if y'all need to go, that's fine. This is the second tree, and pretty much I'm not going to do anything else to it. I just have to finish wrapping this. So I hope you'll be back tomorrow night at 6. We'll be back with 2 trees tomorrow night too. Yeah,
Terry
this,
Surgeon said, I'm hoping my 3 kids will come up and meet you. My dad said he's alone this year, only for the second time Christmas.
yeah, when we first moved to Texas from Alabama, we went home every year for Christmas. But our kids were smaller. As they got older, and especially after they got married and we started having grandkids, we didn't go home every single Christmas then. And my mom passed away in December, so I know Christmas was really hard for my sisters and brother last year, the first Christmas without her. But we had all just in October got together and had a big celebration for her 90th birthday. So that was good. Okay, I'm having to work a little bit harder on these up here, because it is so tiny. It wants you to kind of pull it, and when you pull it, it just doesn't look the same. So I'm trying to get it to where it won't look weird. So neither one of the trees tonight were hard. A little time consuming, but you know, when you craft with anything, it's time consuming. The prep work you have to do beforehand. And like I said, this is a whole lot simpler when you just wrap the cone with one color of yarn or whatever. But you don't get the same effect, so sometimes you just have to spend a little extra time. Okay. So I think I just have maybe 2 more to go.
And get a close-up shot of it.
Oh, let me move it. I'm trying to hold that until it really sets back here because it's kind of pulled. I really think 2 more. Or maybe 3 will do it. And then that's all we're going to do to it. Oops, I got half white. This tubing doesn't want to bend as easy when you don't have much of a circle to bend it around.
Little radius.
Yeah.
Terry Morrison, Sergeant, says that's beautiful one I'm going to make for sure.
Yeah, when I saw it on Pinterest and I thought, and there may be an easier way to where you can put the 2 together and just wrap. You know, like if you just hold that. Like if you just take them and hold them together and then can just wrap, I don't know.
As you get smaller, it'd end up in,
It would really be messy, wouldn't it?
yeah, it'd end up uneven. I don't believe you can do it. Not and stay uniform.
But I want to go right up to. And I'm trying to, you know, I'm starting and stopping on the back. And my hands are getting sticky. Okay. Well, see, that one wanted to come loose, so I'm going to have to hold it for a second. And to keep it straight, you just want to make sure this one here on the bottom, that you definitely go right around the tip of the edge and keep it straight.
Terry Surgeon and Karen Hunter said they're going to make one of those.
I definitely would do the smaller. This cone is with the bow, right at the tip of the bow here, it's 12 inches a foot. If you do one of the bigger ones, it probably will take you a while for sure. But I didn't use the whole pack. So if you buy this, it's probably from the Dollar Tree. If you buy that jute, probably one pack would be, per color. One pack would probably be enough. All right, I'm going to see if this was going to be. Okay. I'm pretty sure this one will be the last one. And I just burnt my finger. But it is pretty. And the reason it's taken a little while longer.
What is that one spray sticking out?
I hadn't wrapped it around yet.
Oh.
I'm going to leave it like that, Ed. You could put a pretty tag on it. I was holding the back to dry, to that glue to dry, so I can get right up here. And I think I will wrap it a little tighter. Right up there to cover that pipe cleaner. Okay, I think that's a go. Last little piece right there. Okay, I'm going to hold that for a second and clean up some of my stuff here. But yeah, I really like the two things that I'm making tomorrow night with scrapbook paper. They're really cute, but they do take some prep time getting your paper ready. But they are going to be cute trees. And I don't think I've made a tree. I know I haven't made one like these before. And I don't think I've made a tree out of scrapbook paper before. Got one little thing there trying to come loose. So that'll kind of be a first for me. We'll see. And sometimes things don't come out, like you get a certain thing in your head and it doesn't really look that way when you're finished, but we'll see. So that's pretty much it for us tonight. We went a little longer than an hour, but this is what we have. We had this tree, which we'll call our Scrabble tile tree. This tree will be called our, I just turned and looked at it. It makes me think of Mickey Mouse. The ears or something. I don't know, Ed. I may have to put something up there between that bow. But we'll see. Y'all know when I do pictures if I add something right there. I don't know what it'll be, but I don't know. Just when I turned and looked, I don't like the bow like that across, so it needs a button or something. Yesterday he's like, here you come with those buttons again. But it does. It needs something. If a glitter ball, those scatter balls, I may try to see what one of those look like. But anyway, that's it for tonight. I appreciate y'all hanging in with us, and those of you that are new and came back, we will be here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, and that will be our last night for trees, trees, and more trees. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.